to our episode number 1, our first podcast. I'm happy to introduce Ivan Parra, who's one of our guides in Happy Gringo. And let's start by getting to know you, Ivan.
Hey, hi everyone. So nice meeting you. Nice meeting everybody over there. So I'm a tour guide here in the city or in Ecuador in general. So I've been working in this area close to 12 years. So that is something that I can tell you. I don't know, maybe you have some questions about.
Sure. So you mentioned you've been working in the travel industry as a guide several years. And what inspired you to follow this career path?
Okay, the thing is, one of the main reasons was that I was looking at kind of career that could keep me away of the kind of offices or something like that, or the big cities. So I was mostly looking at kind of area that will be outdoors. So that was the main reason why I was looking a kind of area like that. And another thing is that I love nature, so I prefer to stay in the outside or in the nature than inside of kind of offices, to be honest.
Awesome. And you've probably seen a lot of Ecuador. Every city has its charm, of course. But how many cities have you visited? And what's your favorite one so far?
It's hard to say how many cities. We have a lot of cities all over the country. We have different regions, the Amazon, the coast, and even the highlands where we are right now. But I will say that I really love to live in Quito. But one of the cities that I really like it, I'm not from that area, but I really like it at times that I was able to visit in that area was Cuenca. Cuenca is a beautiful city that I really like it. It's smaller than Quito, you have everything close by, and even the sceneries that you have just around of the cities are amazing.
I agree with you. I went to Cuenca like 3 months ago, and as you said, like everything is nearby, small city, but the architecture as well plays an important role. And for example, Ivan, most of your passengers do day trips from Quito to nearby highlights on the mainland, right? In your experience, which destinations are the most popular with travelers? And what do you think makes them so special?
Okay, I would say that Quito is well located, I would say, because Quito is the main destination that we do have in the country. And one of the reasons why Quito is the most popular spot is because we have everything close by. I would say you can drive 2 hours and you can be in a kind of high elevation mountain that is the Cotopaxi volcano, just 2 hours away from the capital city. And another place that is a beautiful area is the cloud forest also. So I really like to go there because the biodiversity in that area is one of the best in the world, not just in Ecuador, in the world.
Yeah.
You see, that's why that area of Mindo is considered as the paradise of the bird watchers or bird photographers, because there are many spots around the Mindo area that you can visit and you can get a different type of birds in that area. And even the outdoor activities that you can practice there also, like tubing, hike to the waterfalls or zip lining. So you can get a little bit of everything in that town also.
Yeah, I agree. You can sometimes disconnect from the outside world in Mindo, for example.
Yeah, that's right. And the thing is that it's just 2 hours driving from the main town, from the city. So it's very, very close, I would say.
I agree. Ivan, Ecuador has such rich culture. Are there any festivals, food experience, or local hidden gems you would say are absolutely a must-do?
Okay, it's hard. We are very diverse, I would say. We have too many options to choose. But I really like the kind of summer solstice that is coming soon on June 21st. So that is one of the main parties that I really like to go visiting, or even if I'm not working, I always take my chance to go to be part of that celebration in the north side, around Tabacundo area or around Otavalo town, which is another important city in the north. But something about gastronomy that you were talking about, I really like to eat fanesca. So that is a kind of traditional dish that we have on Easter's. So that is something that you are not gonna get anywhere else, So it's very local, it's very Ecuadorian. I had a chance to travel in other countries for visiting, not for working, but I've been traveling in other countries that the culture is kinda like Peru or Bolivia, but I never find something like that, to be honest.
Yeah, I did, and also it's also sometimes difficult to choose when to come because we have different seasons and also different things to do almost every month, right?
Yeah, and even
Festivals.
different regions, you know, the gastronomy change depending the region where we are. I was talking about the mountains, but when you go to the coast, you have a different traditional dishes or different celebrations that are very popular also.
So this brings another common questions from our passengers, which is like, when is the best time to come to Ecuador mainland?
Oh, I will say all year round. So we are blessed, I will say, because in Ecuador the weather doesn't change that much. We don't have a kind of extreme changes in the weather, like a kind of temperatures below zero or very hot days, like I will say 4 degrees. So the Quito city or the surrounding areas are pretty good to visit all year round. I would say that is I would say it's one of the few destinations all over the world that you can visit wherever you want.
Yeah. And Ivan, I know that you are an expert in bird watching, right?
I'm trying to do my best.
So here a very interesting question. For example, our tours to places like Mindo and Bellavista are favorites to spotting hummingbirds and other species. What can travelers expect from these experiences, and would you say Ecuador is ideal for bird watching?
Yeah, I will say that is the paradise, to be honest. I had a chance to travel to Colombia, which is a rich country in birds also, and even Costa Rica, which is one of the best destinations for bird photography in not just in America, in the world. It's one of the highlights that they do have in Costa Rica. But I will say that after to visit those countries, Ecuador is one of the best destinations for bird watching or even bird photography, because the country is small, you know, but that makes that the biodiversity is located everything close by. So that is the main reason. So easily if you come, I had the chance to guide a couple of groups, maybe during 6 years that I've been working in that area. And easily in 15, 18 days you can get over 500 different species of birds. Hummingbirds you can get at least 45 different types. So that is amazing, especially some people that come from north side, from North America. I would say that they just have less than, I would say around 15 different hummingbirds. But to come to see 40 different types in less than 2 weeks, that is amazing, especially if you love birds in this area.
Indeed, wow. Ecuador is also known for adventure travel, especially hiking and biking around iconic volcanoes like Cotopaxi and Quilotoa. Are these activities suitable for all travelers? Is there anything people should do to prepare in advance?
No, to be honest, no, because everything will depend on what are you looking for or how are you preparing for your trip. But the thing is that you are never prepared for a country that one day you can be up in the mountains and maybe the next 2 days you are gonna be in the ocean, like in the Galapagos Islands, just with a difference of one day. I would say just come to enjoy, and we have a kind of places for all kind of people, you know, seniors, young guys, even people who love hiking or biking as you were talking about. And I would say Ecuador is for all kind of people who like traveling.
Sure. And we're always reading the reviews of our passengers and they even sharing their amazing photos on social media. So Ivan, do you have any fun or memorable moments from your tours that stand out?
Yeah, not specifically in pictures, but something that I had a chance to hear from my passengers I would say in the last 3 weeks, was one couple that was coming from New Zealand, and they were so surprised in the country because they had the chance to visit 3 of the 4 regions of our country. Wow. So they went to the Amazon rainforest, they were here in the mountains, and they went to the Galapagos Islands. So once the last day that I was taking them to the airport, they were so surprised with the country because they thought that they were visiting 3 different countries in one trip.
Wow.
Because the areas all changed a lot during the regions or even in the regions that you can visit in the country. So as I told you before, so in one day you can be in the Galapagos and the next day you can wake up in the mountains.
Yeah, indeed. And as you mentioned, since Ecuador is a small country, and also it's super easy to travel around and get to know a lot of
yeah, because the attractions are just 2 hours or maximum 3 hours away, one from the other one. So it's a very, I would say it's a kind of good destination that in 3 weeks or 2 weeks easily you can reach a big area of the country.
Sure. So right now we're going to talk about a little more about the Galapagos Islands. It's one of our top bucket list destinations for travelers. And can you share a bit about your experience leading tours in the islands?
Yeah, Galapagos is a kind of unique destination that we have in the country. It's the highlight of our country, so it's the main attraction that we have all over the country. But living in that area is a kind of, I would say, is a kind of amazing sceneries that we have in that area. Once that we travel into that area, we do have many options to do island hopping or staying in a boat to visit a bigger area of the Galapagos. But every time that you go to Galapagos is a kind of different experience, you know.
Yeah.
Any trip is the same, so you always have something new to see in the islands.
Indeed, I've been there like 3 times already, and as you said, every time is different. Every time probably you spot a different type of wildlife, and the interaction with the wildlife in general is just amazing.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a kind of place that you have to be away from the animals. So you cannot go closer to, I would say, closer to 3 feet to them, or maybe 2 meters. But it's hard in some areas. It's hard to do it because sometimes they come too close to you that it's hard to stay away from them.
And that's another good question I was just about to ask you. Since the Galapagos is a protected national park, can you remind us of the important rules or guidelines our passengers should follow to explore responsibly?
Yeah, I will say that once that you arrive to Galapagos, the idea is just to enjoy it. The good thing is that we have a very good information to visit to the Galapagos. So the people who are going to visit the area, they know that it's a protected area, and they know a little bit of the kind of restrictions that we have visiting the area.
Yeah.
So they know that they have to be away from the animals, it's not allowed to touch. So they always have to be in a group, even with a local guide, with a naturalist guide that we have in the islands, and even if they travel with a tour leader. So I would say that they are well prepared, but always we give them some advices or some extra information. The idea is to try to preserve that kind of gem that we have in the country that is a unique place in the world. So it's a kind of, that's why it's the most important attraction of the country. No?
Indeed. And for example, our island hopping tours explore the most unique places in the Galapagos Islands. Which of these places do you think are the must see you would recommend a person who is traveling for the first time to the Galapagos?
It's hard. Island hopping is one of the ways to visit the Galapagos, but there are many places. You know, if you go to Bartolome Island, the sceneries from that area when you go to the viewpoint in that area, that is one of the beautiful images that you have, that you will find in the Galapagos, or even if you Google on internet Galapagos, that is one of the images that will show you in that area. But if you go, for example, in the Isabella Island, if you go visiting the tunnels, lava tunnels in that area, that is a paradise. You know, you can see the turtles, the sea turtles swimming in a crystal clear water. So that is a kind of amazing place.
And the reef sharks as well, like they just pass through next to you and nothing
yeah,
happens.
Yeah, that's right. So there are many places, but I would say that if you do island hopping, you have many places to visit. So every way to visit Galapagos in a boat or island hopping is a different experience. You always will have fun and enjoy visiting those islands.
Awesome. And we know the Galapagos is a year-round destination, but one of the most common questions we get is, when is the best time to visit the Galapagos?
Oh, I will say that is, as you said, is all year round. But it depends. If you have the time to visit during the low season, I would say in Galapagos, that is after February, March, April, and May, it's a good chance because you will see less people visiting around. But the water is still nice, so you can snorkel. It's not cold like in summertime. But even on summertime, just wearing a wetsuit, you are able to practice that kind of sport. But I will say that all year round is the best time to visit.
You're right, Ivan. And we have an amazing blog about unique activities in the Galapagos. From your experience, what kind of activities do you recommend travelers make time for while they're on the islands?
I will say snorkeling is one of the main attractions in that area because even if you don't like snorkeling, you can stay in a boat with the group that you are going, and then the fish will come closer to you. And even you have chances, as I told you, when you go to the tunnels, lava tunnels in Isabela Island, you can see the turtles or even the sharks, white tip sharks or black tip sharks, just laying down or sleeping and taking a rest under the water. So that is a kind of. There are many activities, I will say, even walking, for example, during the nesting season of the birds, like the albatross or the blue-footed boobies or Nazca boobies. It's easy to go in the trails because they're not a kind of very hard areas to walk, but you can be walking closer to those birds. That is a kind of unique experience, you know.
Yes, it is. And Happy Gringos have a lot of land tours that we offer, starting from 4 days up to 10 days, or even we can customize this type of tours. But in your personal experience, how many days do you think are the ideal number of days to have a great experience as a first-time traveler in the Galapagos?
In the Galapagos, I will say at least 6 days. 6 days because the thing is that the Galapagos are a little bit far from the mainland of Ecuador, so you don't count the first day and the last day because they're mostly days that you are traveling to or coming out or coming in from the islands, you know. But 4 full days in the islands, I would say that is a perfect day. If you have the chance to take maybe 10 days, 12 days, it's even better, but at least 6 days is good to visit the islands. Even if you do island hopping, because in that way you can visit 2 of the most important islands in the area, like Isabela or Santa Cruz. And if you have the chance to stay in a boat, it's even better because you can visit a bigger area of the islands also.
Yes, you're right. And it's, I think like the more you travel, the more you see in terms of wildlife.
Yeah, that's right. Because even if you visit a different island, it has always something unique that you will find in that island that you are not going to see anywhere else, or in another island that you will visit in there.
Yeah. So many of our travelers are retired or active older adults. What kind of activities would you suggest that are both fun and manageable?
I would say the Galapagos Islands are well prepared for those kind of visitors. So seniors the islands are very accessible. I would say you can go wherever you want. The hikes are not very extreme, or even when they are like at the Sierra Negra volcano in Isabela.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of long hike that you have, but always they give you some advices or some recommendations if you want to do it, or even if you want to stay in the town, there are many places to visit around or nearby Isabela.
Yeah.
So I would say that is well prepared. I would say we have many places, and even the guides in the Galapagos Islands are well trained, or they know about the area, so they can give you some good recommendations also.
Thank you, Ivan. And some of our passengers often ask how much money to bring to the Galapagos. Based on your experience, what's a reasonable daily budget depending on the trip length? Also, any tips on tipping practices or access to ATMs on the islands?
Yeah, in the islands, that is a kind of very hard situation that we always cross through in the island. So, but now is they are doing better, I will say, with the technology in the area. So there are many places. I would say this, say, 75% of the places they all accept credit cards. So it's not necessary to bring a kind of big amount of money. But you always, if you wanna go visiting, maybe buy some small handcrafts in small stores. It's always good idea to have cash with you.
Yeah.
So I will say that per day you are not gonna need more than 150 or even 200. 200 is, I would say, the biggest amount per day that you will need it, considering that you can pay with credit card in most of the places.
Yes, you're right. And also, for example, in most of the boats, all of them are all board, so it's everything is included, right?
Yeah.
So probably just have cash for tipping the guides and the
Yeah.
crew.
Yeah, tipping the guide, or even if you do island hopping in the area, I would say you may need more cash than if you stay in a boat. But as you said, if you're staying abroad, you will not spend too much money. I would say mostly for keeping the crew that is involved.
Yeah, right. And I think also when you land in the Galapagos, you have to pay the national entrance fee,
Mhm.
right? That's $200 so far in cash. But the TCT, it was a new regulation that right now you can do it online.
Mhm.
So that's $20. You can do it
Yeah,
online sometimes.
that is $20.
Mhm.
But that one, the one that you were talking, is always in cash.
Yeah.
$200. So that is a fee entrance to the national park. So that you have to pay by your own.
Awesome. And are you a good swimmer?
A little bit. I live away from the ocean, but
Yeah.
I can survive.
So do
I'm
you
in the ocean.
recommend like maybe for not really non-swimmers or sometimes people who have a little difficulties swimming, do you think it's a little hard to do snorkeling in the islands?
I would say no, because most of the places that we do visit in those islands are kind of safe areas where the water is very quiet and calm. So those are places that we choose for snorkeling, especially. If you wanna do diving, that is something different, but you
Yeah.
have to you have to have experience to do it. But the snorkeling, I would say we mostly choose a kind of safe areas to do it. That even we were talking, even seniors are able to do it
Mhm.
because even they always give you a safe jacket. So
Yeah.
with that one you can swim or you can jump in the water without no problem.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, Ivan, now we're going to talk about the customized tours with
Yeah.
Happy Gringo. Many of our travelers want to explore both mainland and the Galapagos. Based on your experience, what's a good way to combine the two for a well-balanced trip?
Okay, that is something important, you know. That, as I told you, Galapagos is like the main entrance, the main attraction that we have in the country. And I would say a big group of people just come to the Galapagos, but once that they arrive to Quito, they see that there are many places to visit around or nearby. So I will say that easily if you are able to stay 4 full days in Quito before to go to the Galapagos, that will give you a good chances to visit a big area of the country. As I was talking before, so you have the chance to go to one of the most active volcanoes in the world, that is Cotopaxi, that is just 2 hours away from the town. Easily in a full day you can do it. And even you can go visiting one of the most colorful indigenous market that we have in South America, that is the Otavalo volcano. And if you like nature, you can do it also the cloud forest nature and the extreme sports like a zip lining or tubing, you can do it that area also. So I will say that, but for sure one of the main attractions that we have in the city, that is the old town. The old town or the equator line, those are highlights that we have in Quito. So I will say at least 4 full days in Quito is good enough. And then the time that you prefer to visit the Galapagos Islands will be a good option also.
Awesome. And well, this has happened to my clients and or clients in general who Happy Gringo, that once they arrive in Ecuador and just have limited time to travel to the Galapagos, for example, they just realize that we have so many other attractions to visit,
Yeah.
so they come again like next year and plan their trip just around the mainland area, for example.
Or even sometimes the people talk each other in the boats in Galapagos, and they've been talking about the places that they've been visiting.
Yeah.
And once they come back to the town, they say, okay, why I didn't choose maybe a couple of days more in the city, because there are many places to visit.
Yes. So, Ivan, for travelers with limited time, what are your must-see highlights in both Ecuador and the Galapagos? Any tips on how to fit the best of both into one itinerary?
Considering days, or do you have a limit of time maybe? So Galapagos, as I told you, 6 days is a kind of good time if you don't have such a long time to visit the country, you know. But if you come at least 3 days in this Quito city, I would say that is good enough. 12 days, 11 days is good. It's good time to see a kind of big area or important area around Quito and even the Galapagos Islands.
Indeed. Our custom tours often include special experiences like cooking classes or visiting floriculture farms. Are there any other unique experiences you would recommend?
Yeah, it depends the season, as I tell you. All year round we have a different experiences in the country. So you know, one of the main parties or big celebrations that we have in Ecuador are Easterns, or we call Semana Santa. So there is a very nice procession in the old town that is a kind of unique experience in this area. So that is one of the options. Or the other one that I was talking about, the cooking classes are so important because they teach you how we eat, you know, the main ingredients that we get in the country, or how rich is our gastronomy in this area.
Yeah.
But I would say there are many places, depending the time that you choose to visit the country, you can get a kind of nice experience in it.
Indeed. And since every traveler is different, we like to personalize each tour around what excites them most, like history, sustainable tourism, or adventure activities. What types of themes have you been the most rewarding for you to guide? And are there any experiences that you think every traveler should try at least once?
Yeah, I will say that if you come to Ecuador, that is a kind of good destination to practice at least maybe a couple of activities like extreme sports in the country.
Love rafting.
Because rafting is one of the options in the Amazon. The Amazon rapids are pretty nice.
Yes.
Or even there are nice zip linings in another important town that we have in the country that is called Baños. And bike riding, mountain bike riding in Cotopaxi volcano with the beautiful sceneries behind you. There's a little bit of everything for everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are. I would say that if you have the chance to come to visit, I would say at least choose one or two of those options or those places to visit, and you will get a good experience in it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ivan, for your time.
So thank you so much for inviting me to come to this podcast. It was a pleasure to me.
Likewise. So see you again, guys, to our next episode. Take
Okay,
care.
bye.
Bye.